How is everyone doing today? I am so excited to be seeing all of your comments coming in about the workshop. Later on, after I get done with this, I'm going to go back to that video one page, and it's just been so incredible and overwhelming to read through your comments and see that you're enjoying the video, because you guys know when you like create something and you've never put it out in the world before, because this is the very first time we've had our workshop, the Get Unstuck workshop. When you create something and you've never put it out before, it's kind of scary. And so it's just really exciting that you guys are enjoying the workshop. You're getting something out of it. You're having light bulbs. I've heard many times that it's come at the right time for you because you were feeling stuck. So here comes the Get Unstuck workshop. And you have to remember, like, those signs, things happen for reasons, right? Like, if you're stuck and the Get Unstuck workshop comes and you're just like, this is what I need. And I saw that over and over again. So just follow the plan. I've been stuck. I've been exactly where all of you guys have been in the past. And this workshop is just really designed to give you everything I know and to help you put that plan together so that you can find your dream career, whether it's a new job, whether it's, later on in the workshop, you'll hear from someone who made a transition into another state. So she had to deal with trying to job search in a different state. We've had people completely change careers. We had someone who was in HR transition to becoming a teacher. We've had a lot of women, of course, start businesses as well, going through this kind of, I never knew I would ever become an entrepreneur. I did not know I had it in me. But doing a lot of this stuff that we're going to talk about, I realized that an entrepreneur is right for me. So whatever it is, there's no like right or wrong. This isn't geared to like one type of job. Everything I'm teaching you is for any industry that you're in. Any industry. So tell me who you are. If we have two ways that you can be watching this. You can watch this on Zoom, or you can watch this on Facebook in our Facebook group. So whichever way works for you. Zoom sometimes works better if you have questions. Sometimes I'll see them better. There's an easier way to like submit questions. So a lot of people like to watch it through Zoom. You have to download it first. So if you didn't download it before, then that might be something you want to do for next time. And then we have Facebook. You can watch this, in the Facebook group. And I'm just realizing that I am still showing you. There you go. I was showing you the screen the whole time, not my face, but that's okay. It's going to get updated, I think. So here I am. I'm here, and we are going to get started. I'm going to answer your questions. Let me just check Facebook, make sure it's working now. So I'm going to answer your questions from the first video of our workshop. And so we had a lot of questions come in ahead of time. So big shout out to Rachel, who got all of our questions and she put it on a nice little document for me. So we're going to cruise through that. But I just wanted to kind of give you a quick highlight. If you have not watched the first video, there's not a certain time that you needed to watch it, so you can watch it. It's probably going to be up for the next few days, if not probably about a week you have to watch it. So it's not urgent whatsoever, but I do want you to to move forward and watch it, because video 2 and video 3 are going to be coming out, and then video 4. So you want to make sure that you're watching them in order. So that's why we're kind of cruising through them slow. We're giving you a few days to make sure that you have watched each video as you move forward. So video 1 is out. Video 1 is all about the opportunity that's in front of you, and also about our socially hired system. So I went over the 3 trends that you need to know if you're making a career transition. And I also went over the socially hired system. So if you've watched the video, let us know. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can watch the video at www.classycareergirl.com/getunstuck. That's how you can register, and you'll get the immediate link to watch video 1. There's also a career assessment on the bottom of video 1 that you can take and kind of assess where you are at in your career. So let's get started with some questions. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, so let's see. This is what I want to show you. Okay, so I got out the questions. This is kind of like the outline. If you're in any of our membership sites, we do these Q&A calls a lot, and I always we have this document that we go through, so you can kind of I got a lot of feedback that you guys want an outline to my Q&As and you want to actually see the questions that are coming in. So this is my way. So hopefully you guys can see this on whether you're watching on Facebook Live. Oh, Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. And I know Jen is with us as well. Hi, Jen. So this is the first question that came in, was from Paige. Great question. I think this just summarizes the workshop. This summarizes everything I love talking about. So Paige says, how can I start with a job search when I don't even know what I want to do yet? I'm feeling mixed up and backwards. Plus, I'm having a hard time focusing and have no idea how to begin answering the hard questions to find out what I want to do or be. Okay, there's nothing wrong. If you don't know what type of job you want to have, there's nothing wrong with that, because it just means that you are in phase 1. You're in the explorer phase. Job searcher, resumes, LinkedIn, all that stuff, that's phase 2. So don't worry too much if you're just starting out and trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, because if you can just focus in that phase 1 and figure it out first, it's going to make job searching so much easier. It's going to make being successful in your career so much easier. It's going to make your happiness and your fulfillment and everything you do so much easier if you can just hold on and focus in on that phase 1 and the things that we're going to dive through. So video 2 will be really good for you, Paige, because we're going to go over the exact system to go through. It's the 7 steps to get your career unstuck, and it has nothing to do with job searching. It only has to do with figuring out what that ideal career fit is for you. So this is kind of where I differ a little bit, because let me stop sharing my screen here, because okay, so this is where I differ, because I don't just jump to job searching. I don't jump to resumes like some other people do. I focus a lot on that beginning phase of figuring out what that ideal career fit is for you. That's like my sweet spot. That's what I love doing with people, because what I've seen is, even if you have a resume and it looks great, if it's not matched up to what your ideal career is, then you're not going to be successful in that interview. Same with networking. If you're out there networking, and this was me, so everything I talk about is based off my experience. If you're out there networking, but you don't know what you're networking for, or what that careers you want to go into, then you're going to be kind of nervous or shy, or you're not going to be very confident while you're networking, because you won't know where you're headed, and you won't know what to ask for. You won't know that elevator pitch. You won't appear confident, and you won't get your dream job because you don't know what your dream job is. So I focus a long time in this phase 1, and that's what video 2 is going to talk about as well. But real quick, Paige, there are 3 things that determine career satisfaction. So these are the 3 things that I would start to think about. And I cover this in video 2, but I'll kind of give you guys a sneak peek because you're here with me on the Q&A. So the first thing that you want to think about is your motivations. So your motivations are those things that motivate you to do a good job at work, motivate you to get out of bed to go to work. Like, what's your why? Like, what motivates you at work? Now, some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated by leadership. Some people are motivated by flexibility and autonomy and being able to work on their own. A lot of people are motivated by a boss or by a team lead or working with others. Other people are motivated by helping people and impacting people. Every time I see a post in the Facebook group, someone on our team, Ivy, just posted her acceptance into an MBA program, and like, that's what motivates me, right? Like, the people on my team, and then the people that I'm impacting in our network and in our membership sites, like, when they're making progress, like, that motivates me. So someone can take my teachings, my trainings, how I'm explaining things, if I can simplify things and people can take that and take action with it and move forward, then that's what motivates me. When I was getting out of college, I don't know if I was motivated by money, but I was motivated by like being in a consulting job. Like, that motivated me. There was something about like being a consultant and getting to travel and getting promotions and raises, and like, that motivated me for a time in my life. Now, your motivations change. So clearly a few years later, when I was like, I want to have a family, those kinds of things traveling for work, like money, that didn't motivate me anymore. And so I had to make some changes to match my motivations. So you want to know think about what your motivations are. Number two, you want to think about your skills, but not just what you're good at. You want to think about what your favorite skills are. So something I'm really good at that I got an A in economics when I was in college, and I was undecided in my major, and the professor, who's also my advisor, said, you should go into business and you should go into math because you're really good at it. So I just kind of like rode that road, and I went into finance, and I got a finance job, and I did numbers and analytics and was great at it, and I got promotions and raises, but it wasn't my favorite skill. I didn't really enjoy it. So I realized when I started teaching, when I started mentoring and teaching other people, like that's what I really enjoyed doing. Didn't matter what I was teaching. I could teach finance, but I hated doing finance. And so that's what I started realizing, like, okay, I'm skilled at finance, but it's not my favorite skill. I'm skilled at teaching, and it is my favorite skill. So starting to go into that direction. And then the third thing you want to think about is your interests. And those are the things that when you look back to a child even, and this, by the way, this isn't stuff I've made up. This is from the Career Leader Assessment. Many companies give out the Career Leader. You can Google it if you want, but this is actual research that they've completed. And I used to teach this stuff when I was in corporate years ago, and now I've just taken it with me and still teach it because I think it's so pivotal. So the third thing and the most important thing that will affect your career satisfaction in your career is your interests. And your interests are those things that are always with you. So unlike motivations, your interests stay with you through your entire lifetime. And you can look back to your childhood and see yourself using your same interests. So two of my interests, one of them is influencing others. And when I went back to my childhood, I started a Save the Earth Club when I was like in second or third grade or something. There was like one other person in it, and we would like go tell our parents to make sure their showers were short, and we would turn off lights, and we wanted to save the earth. And so when I realized that's when I started realizing these interests, thinking back to my childhood of when I was using those interests. And then the same thing with like coaching, like mentoring and helping people. When I look back to my childhood, or more of like my teenage years, like my high school years, I was always like the go-to person that my friends would come to ask questions, whether it was like college or dating or health or anything. I was like the Q&A person like I am today. Like I love answering questions. I love helping people. I love pointing people in the right direction, or here's a blog article you might like, or here's some information that could help you. If any of you guys know the Strengths Finder, I have input as one of my top 5 strengths. And that's what that is. It's this stored information in my head, and now it's on my blog, that I love just like giving people helpful advice from all the stuff I've accumulated through the years. And so you can tell right here, like as I talk through these 3 things, these favorite skills, motivations, and interests, like you can tell how much self-assessment I've done, and that has led me into a career I love. And so Paige, that's kind of what would be my advice to you, is like, you really have to understand yourself and know yourself. I didn't know this. When I graduated college, I just jumped into a career and kind of bounced around. I spent 8 years in a consulting company called Booz Allen Hamilton. It was great for some of that time, and then some of the time I was just kind of stuck. So all because I didn't do any of this stuff. I didn't do this like self-analysis until towards the end of my career as a consultant, when I started realizing what these 3 things are and why I wasn't satisfied, and then started helping other people figure that out as well. So I hope that helps you, Paige. Let's go to our next question. And if you have questions, please, please, please ask them, because we didn't have too many come in. We had some come in, but we can definitely handle a few more questions. Okay, let me take a sip of water. Okay. Let's see. Kristen says, I want to find a job I'm passionate about that doesn't take away from my family. With 2 growing boys, congrats, and a husband I need to be available for them, but at the same time really want something to call my own, something to channel my creative side. And what I'm doing right now just doesn't seem to be cutting it. I'm so lucky to be able to do things part-time and volunteer, but I feel stuck. This series couldn't have come at a better time for me. I'm looking forward to figuring out what I want to do. So very similar to what I was talking about with Paige is your motivations have changed. When you have a family, things change, you're motivated by different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now it's just analyzing, like, what are your motivations right now? Like, what is different than when you went before? Now you're job searching, you're a different person. Kids change you. Oh my goodness, I am a completely different person since my daughter was born 3 years ago. Who I am now as in my career, you have to analyze who you are and how you've changed since you have these two growing boys. But I love how you said that you need to channel your creative side. So there's definitely something there that you can analyze a little bit more about your creativity. There's so much more opportunity online, in an office, maybe part-time, or just to learn and let that creative side out as you grow. One thing I would do is I would start figuring out who your career role models are. Are there people in career fields right now that sound interesting to you and you want to start adding more of those people into your network? But for me, I mean, let's see. Let me go back to me. So for me, I was kind of in the same way because I was doing finance, and it was like I was working in cubicles, like it was like very formal, male dominated. It was military was our client, the military was our client. So there was no creativity. If I was lucky, I could do like different colored PowerPoint slides, like different colored, like my graphs were pretty. That was about how much creativity I got to let out in my job. And I didn't really know even that I had this creative side. And that's continually what I'm still letting out and learning about is that creative side. And now it's like coming through in like photography and like putting images and stories together and working on working on like my brand. That's where my creativity comes now. But when I first started, my creativity came out in a blog. So the first thing that you probably want to look at is what's that way that you can let your creativity out, and start doing that for at least like 15 minutes a day. Is it photography? Is it writing? Is it just talking like on a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live? There's so many ways that you can be creative and let that out. But if you don't let it out, it just kind of like it stays there, and you kind of just always have that like that kind of thing that's like you got to let out, because that's what makes you happy, right? Like when I can, and I'm really trying really hard because I'm a writer, like that's how this all started, is blogging and communicating my thoughts through written form. Obviously I like doing this kind of stuff. I'm an introvert, so I can't do too much of this, otherwise I get like way overloaded. Like I can't do one of these every day. Like I can't do that. I can't do too many calls in one day because my brain just like it's too it's too much for little old introverted Anna. So but writing is something that doesn't drain me. So, and it's how I communicate, especially like if I'm trying to get something out. Like if I can't sleep, I have to write because there's like something in my mind that I just need to get out. And when I can get it out, I just feel so much better. Now it's not that way for everyone else. Everyone has, I feel like everyone is creative in some way. Another way that you can be creative is like on Instagram, literally like what's fun for me now is going on later.com and like designing, putting your like images with your quotes and like the photography, and that to me is a really fun place to be creative as well. So it could just be waking up in the morning. It could be journaling. I don't know if you've read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a really, really good book. I highly recommend it. But she recommends every morning when you wake up that you write 3 pages of morning pages, which is just basically you know, when you wake up and you're like super stressed and overwhelmed, so you're writing all that out, so you just get it out of your head through writing, so it doesn't like block you, so you don't like continue to stay stressed. So for me, it's like writing down my to-do list. Like even if it's, you can write whatever comes to your mind, and it doesn't have to be good writing. This isn't like blogging. It's not for public use. It's just like getting this stuff out of your head. And if you do that on a consistent basis, it'll start to like open up this creative side as well. So she highly recommends that for people who want to get their creativity back. So I hope that helped. But let us know what you decide to do. I know with the little ones around, it's always an interesting thing. But sometimes when they go back to school, like my daughter is in preschool now, and it's just a couple days a week, but it definitely opens up a little bit more. But yeah, you say 2 growing boys, so I don't know how old your boys are, but growing makes me think that they might be more in school age, so you might have a little bit more time. I do a ton of work at night. I mean, my daughter, now she goes to bed at 8. She wakes up early a lot of the time, so I've been working a lot at night, and you just have to make it work, because for me, I know when I can let that creative side out, I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, daughter, person, and I feel like I'm like helping the world or impacting other people, so that makes me happy. I have some purpose. Okay, Jessica. Okay, Jessica says, the workshop came at the perfect time because even though I made the decision to get unstuck a few weeks ago, I've been a bit lost since officially making this transition. So I'm going to stop right there, because I love how she said, I made the decision. When you're getting your career unstuck, and we're going to talk about this, I think it's in video 3 of this first steps, we call it the Dream Career Launchpad. One of those steps is making a commitment and making a decision. And so I love how she said she made this decision. Like once you make that decision, you're not going back. Like you're going to make it happen no matter what. So I want you to have that commitment, whether it's like writing it down or making a goal or sharing it with us in the Facebook group. Like I want you to commit to this career change. So shout out to you, Jessica. That's awesome. So she says, I've been a bit lost since officially making this transition into it looks like it's the first time I've been unemployed, which is scary, but I'm looking forward to finding my dream career. I would love any advice you ladies have on anything I can do or do in the meantime for personal and career development, or if you've been through or going through anything similar, please reach out. Okay, so if you are unemployed, your full-time job is job searching and networking. You have you don't know how many people who are in our community would love your position, because most people are job searching with a full-time job and just making it work. When you have the day to be able to devote to this, there's so many opportunities for you. Number one, you have to focus on your mindset. Mindset is huge for you. Make sure you're around positive people who are supporting you. Check in on our Facebook group, listening to positive podcasts, because sometimes when you're unemployed, you can start to have these like negative thoughts about like, what am I doing? Am I not good enough? You know, I'm not working, and it can kind of affect your mindset. So I would make sure that you're focusing on those affirmations, when you wake up, and you're staying positive and around positive people, maybe going to networking events with motivating talks. But the other key thing that I want you to do is I want you to focus on also filling that time, whether it's interning, whether it's volunteering, whether it's learning or growing, or maybe it's blogging, your expertise, something that we can put on your resume while you're at this unemployed state, because that's going to help you when it comes time to finding that next career. So whether you're job searching, we're going to put that on your resume. Whether you're starting a business, at least it's something that you can share with potential clients, that you're moving forward. So I would focus on looking at, I mean, there's so many opportunities right now to do online training, to do online classes, just continuing to build that skill set, because it will be a question that you will be asked. You know, especially if you left your last job, they're going to ask you, why did you leave your last job? They're going to ask you, what have you been doing for the last 3 months? You know, they're going to ask these questions. It is, I wouldn't say it's a red flag. It's only a red flag. It's only a red flag if you haven't been doing anything and if it looks like you have been sitting on your couch watching TV for 3 months. So we just want to fill that spot with something, whether it's I took a course or I got training or I did a job shadow. Like maybe there's opportunity for you to shadow someone who's in the career that you want to do. You know, maybe there's a way where you can intern. Those aren't advertised. I mean, you find internships through networking and meeting people and seeing if they need help and volunteering your time to help that person or that company. And that's what opens up new opportunities as well, because then someone will want, then you don't have to go through the application process either. Like they can see over these last 3 months, you've been working your butt off. Like there's no like, what have you been doing these last 3 months? And, you know, and you might not even get to that point where you can even ask it in an interview because there's so many other job applicants. So, so that's what I would focus. It's a total positive to have the time and to have the space. And if you're listening to this right now and you, have a full-time job and you're wondering how the heck am I going to do that? I got an internship with a full-time job. It is possible. I had to go in, super early and I worked super early some of the days. And then I left my job at like 3:30, so that I could do the internship in the evening, I think it was. This is why I was getting my MBA. So at one point, I did too many things. I had a full-time job. I was getting my MBA. I had an internship. I had my blog, and I was like, I think at that point I was doing speaking events even. I was definitely writing on the blog a few times a week. So all of that stuff though helped push me forward to figure out. I was searching. And so I kind of created that internship. It was actually called it was an independent study for my business program, but it was basically an internship for a nonprofit. Nonprofits definitely need help if you can volunteer, help them out, and start learning that skill set. So for me, I had an organizational development concentration for my MBA, but I didn't have any experience on that side. So I kind of created an internship that would give me that experience. So it's all, I mean, this is why it's like we have, on our, I don't know if do you guys have our free planner, our 90-day planner? You can get it on our website. It's amazing. Oh, this one doesn't. Usually our to-do list. So if you get, if you join us in Love Your Career Formula, which we're going to be telling you guys more about in a little bit, but we have our daily to-do list. This isn't it. This is it. And on the top, it says create your future. And so I just say that because that's really what this is all about. Like there's so many ways that you can create your future once you figure out what that dream career is and creating it and finding it and making it happen. It's just not going to happen through an online job search, most likely. You know, a lot of people start with online job search, and that's like the really frustrating part, right? Where you feel like that hamster wheel trying to apply for jobs and not getting anywhere and not getting calls back. And so that's what the whole point of this workshop is, to move you kind of in a different direction to getting unstuck. So I think that was the last question that came in. Oh no, there's one more awesome question. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. I think we have more questions. Keep the questions coming because I'm going to answer. We have a couple questions that came in on Zoom, and then we have a couple questions. I don't know if we have any questions, but if you're watching this on Facebook Live and you have questions, just feel free to comment. This was a good one. Okay. And this came from an anonymous. I think I do know her name, but I think she clearly wants to be anonymous, so I'm not even going to say her name. Are you able to tell me if there's some way to be on LinkedIn without being seen by my current employer? I have been to a career coach and found that the whole emphasis was getting into LinkedIn, only to be told that the profile can't be kept for my employer. What do you suggest? I've deleted my resume from my profile as I'm unable to get any concrete assistance. Okay, so these days, Having a LinkedIn profile does not mean you're job searching. Everyone should have a LinkedIn profile with your information complete, with your prior information, your resume. It does not mean you're job searching, and your employer will not worry about your job searching, because it's pretty much known that everyone has a profile now. But what you don't want to do is update your status or your headline or put anywhere in your profile that you are looking for a job. You also don't want to sign up for LinkedIn Premium, because that shows it basically looks like you're job searching, because you get extra features, you get pulled up into results, or it's just not good to have if you don't want your employer to know that you're job searching. So the best way to job search on LinkedIn is by messaging people and networking, and your employer would not be able to see you do that. So I honestly wouldn't worry, but if you are worried and you don't want to search on LinkedIn, there's a million other ways. We don't just focus on LinkedIn here. That's like one little baby part of our entire curriculum in Love Your Career Formula. It's a part of it. I mean, it's definitely important. I think in the video I said that 90% of recruiters use LinkedIn. So it's very important, but there are a million other ways that you can go about the job search. LinkedIn isn't the only way, but networking is key, and I think that's why a lot of career coaches just go straight to LinkedIn, because networking is key and referrals are key when you're job searching. And LinkedIn is kind of like that first place to do it, but it depends on your industry. And I don't know what job you're searching for, what industry you are in, but some industries, no one's on LinkedIn. So you don't need to worry about having a LinkedIn profile. A lot of recruiters and HR professionals are on LinkedIn. In some industries, there's more people on LinkedIn. There's oftentimes like CEOs will be on LinkedIn. But some industries, no one's on LinkedIn. Like my old company, which was like military, project management, finance, none of them are on LinkedIn, because it's kind of more of like a private, secure kind of role that we had. Like I couldn't really tell many people what I did. So clearly no one's going to be on LinkedIn. And some people are, but no one wants to get in trouble for putting something in their profile that they weren't supposed to put about our client or anything like that. So there will be industries that are just not on LinkedIn, and the key is you have to find where your people are. You have to find where they're going to be. And there's many other ways that you can find them, like informational interviews, networking events. You can find their contact information on their website. You can send messages on other social media platforms. And the key just really is getting those referrals. So I hope that helps. Okay, so I'm going to go now to the questions that have come in. These aren't questions. So Jennifer says, hi, Jennifer. She says, creativity is I give her, I say that because she's on our teams. I know, Jennifer. I was like, there's 3 new questions. It's Jennifer. Jennifer says, creativity is my specialty. Yes, everyone has their own medium for their creativity. Yes. And I think I just like sharing my story, I hope that helps someone about their creativity, because I literally did not think I was creative whatsoever. I can't, because I can't draw. I can't paint. I can't draw. Like, I guess I could probably paint, but like my daughter comes to me and she's like, Mom, draw me a bus, draw me a cow. And I'm like, literally I'm the stick figure. I like, maybe I should take drawing lessons, guys, because I can't draw. So I always thought that was what creativity was, and that's what art was. But not until I started exploring this whole blogging and now like photography thing, like I actually love taking photos, and that's art. I love writing, and that's art. I love now on my Instagram, on the running Instagram, I'm putting like my story with the images, and like all that is like fueling my creativity, and I love it. So yeah, you just have to figure out what that fuel is that works for you. Okay, I'm gonna go on the Facebook group now and see if lots of you guys are on there. Awesome. Okay, let's see what questions or comments. Just say hi, I hope. Rachel, hey Rachel. Hey Raven, nice to see you ladies. Aida, woo, Team CCG is representing today. I love it. Teresa says, sorry, I gotta run. I'll catch a video. Yes, this will be recorded, so if you missed the beginning, it'll pop up in our Facebook group, so you can watch the recording. Have you done the MBTI? Yes, the Myers-Briggs, ISFJ right here for sure. Input, yeah, input is definitely one of my top 5. That's from Maya. Hi, Maya. Nice to see you here. Yeah, I've done the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs, that's the one that's going to test you for the introvert extrovert, which is sometimes interesting to know. That's the first time I took the Myers-Briggs MBTI was when I had just gotten, I think this is why I started to love training, because it was in my first year in my corporate job, and I was quiet and they all wanted to go to happy hour and like every night, and I was like, I can't keep up. Like, they just go out all the time after work and I just want to go home and crawl in my bed, and like I thought there was something wrong with me. And when I took the Myers-Briggs class, they had a class at my company and we took it. And then it was like a 2-day training on our Myers-Briggs. And that's when I gained confidence, because I was like, I'm an introvert, but there are so many positive things about introverts. And I like became proud of to be an introvert, not just the shy girl, but I started to realize that there's good things about being an introvert. I think I wrote a blog post about that. I can pull it up for you if you want. There's like 15, I think it was 15 reasons why I love being an introvert. And then later on, we took it again in my MBA program when I got my MBA. And there was like just a small portion of our MBA class that were introverts. There was maybe like 6 of us. And then there was like 30 extroverts. And so that was another like challenging time of like, oh gosh, they want to go out all the time. And like, I just couldn't, like, I worked all day and then I went to business school at night, and then they were going out after that. And I was like, I can't do it. And so that was another time where I just like felt like an outsider, but like I started to still become confident in the positive things of being an introvert. And then people started realizing, okay, I'm not like the shy girl, but if you get me, like we were doing small groups, and like during the small groups, they started to like get to know me better and realize I was like a really valuable part of the team. Not because I was like super loud and I asked all kinds of questions and I raised my hands all the time in class, but because um on a smaller side, I was talkative and I was like a nice person, but they couldn't tell that in the room full of 35. I'm the introverted one, so I'm not gonna like shout. That's just not me, but there's nothing wrong with me. It's just who I am. So that's my introvert story. I hope it helps someone, because I know that there's a lot of introverts in this group. I think that's what attracts us, because I love having the Facebook group because I can interact online. I can like look through my responses and find things and think about my responses before I post them, which is totally an introvert thing. Um, Jessica, hey Jessica, she says, thank you. Raven says, I know this type of work I want to do as my career. What is the best way to figure that area to go into, such as freelance or corporate employee? Um, I I mean, there's a lot of options for you, Raven. I think for me, I was obviously glad I had prior experience. I had a lot of experience before I started my business, and everything that I have, I like took with me. Obviously, a lot of the conversations that I've shared today are based off what I learned in corporate. But I don't think you need, if I knew what I knew now, like I might not have needed those 8 years as a corporate employee. But to me, it really depends on like the type of experience that you need. So if you do informational interviews and you start doing informational interviews with people who are in that career that you want, I would ask them, to get this career, do I need to have a certain number of years experience? Do I need to get a degree, a certain type of certification? What do I need to know? I did this when I wanted to be a career coach. I interviewed a ton of career coaches who were already doing this, and I asked them that question, and I got very valuable feedback on books to read and professional associations to join and networking events, and I got introductions to other people, and I got websites that I should be reading and looking at. So I can't answer it because I don't know for for the career that you want, if you would need that. So I would go find someone who has that career and ask them if you need any sort of required years of experience, or do you need any sort of certification, or what is that like knowledge skill that you need. And then shadowing is always great. I mean, interning or do any type of like volunteering or learning from the people that are already doing, like soaking up that information, kind of being their right hand person will allow you to have to speed through, right? Like you're not going to learn some things like education and schooling can't teach you for, like you learn on the job, whether it's like doing it yourself and doing something every day, learning more about something. A lot of stuff you can learn online, you can learn yourself, and then a lot of stuff you can learn by like shadowing and getting a mentor and having other people help you. So great question, but I hope that helps, Raven. That would be my feedback for you. Okay, so let's see if we had any other questions come in. Hey, hey, I recognize that name. Jan Runyon, my mother-in-law. I found that when introverts speak, you really want to listen. They often have amazing insights to share. Oh, that's why you listen so well to me. Oh, Jan. She's a very good listener because she understands that I'm an introvert. When did you know I was an introvert? I'm sure it was like in the very, very beginning because I was very shy when John brought me around the first time. And John has he has a very big family. So that's a whole nother story, Jan, that we can save for another day. But I'm sure I was like, oh, there's like so much going on. And anyways, it's fun. Okay. Raven says, thanks so much. You're so welcome. Okay, so let's talk about next steps. So Friday, the workshop video 2 comes out. And in video 2, I'm going to go over the 7 steps to get your career unstuck. This is the same 7 steps I've been teaching since 2011. And so you don't want to miss it because it's really like the foundation of career change. And every time I teach this, if you use what I teach, it will work. And that's been seen over and over again by my clients and students and everyone who's followed these 7 steps to get unstuck. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come out on Friday. You will get an email with the link to that video. If you haven't watched video 1, make sure you catch up with us and you do watch video 1. That's at www.classycareergirl.com/getunstuck. And that will give you the information for video 1. And you'll also be on the list then to receive the link to video 2. Make sure you download the worksheet as well. There's a career assessment so you can assess how you're doing right now in your career, how happy and fulfilled you are. And in video 2, it will have this, the worksheet will be just a little handout that has the 7 steps to get unstuck. So you don't have to, you can take notes and you probably should take notes, but it will have the highlights of video 2 coming out on Friday. All right. Thank you everyone for joining me. If you have any other questions, I'll be in the group. I'll be answering all your questions, and I'll probably try and jump on another Facebook Live to review video 2. So if you have any questions about video 2, just feel free to post them in the Facebook group when that comes out, and I'll try and come back on live. I'm thinking Saturday morning, tentatively, will be the time that I'll come back to answer any questions you have about video 2. Okay, awesome. Let me just make sure one more time. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. And if you enjoyed the workshop, please share it with a friend too. I want to get this information out to as many people as possible. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye everyone.